Yo, yo, out there in Bassland, it's Jeff from jeffrey-thomas.com, and I'm going to walk through page one for my bass tab of I Wish by Stevie Wonder. So make sure you're requesting page one from the website so you can have it in front of you, and we'll go ahead and walk through it. Right now, I'm just on page one, just finishing up page one, and I should have the whole tune wrapped up within the next week. So anyway, let's start from the top. The intros and the verses are all the same. We've got ready, go. Straight eighth notes. And then alternating down here. If you're new to bass playing, this is totally not effective to just use the same finger over and over. You may as well be using a pick, right? Not that there's anything wrong with using a pick if the tune requires it, but this is pretty much fingerstyle bass playing, and so you're going to be alternating with these dudes. This is like the bread and butter for the bass player, alternating with I and M in these two fingers. And tempo's up around 100, but I want to go ahead and run it for you at 90, just this intro and verse section, so you can kind of get an idea of the feel. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you these are eighth notes, but they're also kind of cut short. You don't want to go almost sounds like a walking jazz line if you do it that way. So everything's kind of cut short. Right? Okay, that covers the intro and the verse. Let's go to the pre-chorus because the pre-chorus is super awesome. The pre-chorus is like a walking jazz line. A lot of my students are pointing that out. They're like, oh, that sounds like jazz. And it kind of is. It's like a walking over a B flat. So anyway, here's the pre-chorus. Ready, go. Nice chromatics in there. Down to the third line. Okay, so super hip, chromatic. What do I mean by chromatic? Well, you're starting up a scale, a B flat scale. This is a chromatic line here. Nice little half step work there. Chromatic here. So really an interesting bass line at this part of the tune. I think you do kind of want to go into like a walking feel here. Sorry. Yeah, that works nice. So listen to the difference against cutting it short and then letting it sort of walk here. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that gets you through your pre-chorus, and then the chorus is tagged with endings 1, 2, and 3, and then there's a fourth ending on it. So the endings 1, 2, and 3 are the same as the intro and the verses. You're going to be to your okay. Now I'm going to go to the fourth ending because there's actually like a breakdown that happens here, which is really whoop. So I'm going to pick it up from the top of the chorus, and I'm going to go to ending 4. So ready, go. Sorry. Okay, so let's go over what's happening there. There's some sixteenths that come into the tune. And I'm going to count it for you from the top of the chorus going into ending 4. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and a 1 E and a 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now that brings you to the 5th line. And here on the 5th line, you'll see that I put synth because I think what's happening is that Stevie's synth line, he has like some of the most amazing synth bass tones like ever, right? And I think what's happening is at this point of the like a breakdown of the tune, the actual bass is going and then Stevie's synth lines are kind of mixing in. So I was listening to that and I'm like, all right, let me just combine it. So here's what I did. We'll go ahead and take it from the top of the chorus, go to ending 4, and then we'll go down to the 5th line. So ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and a 1 E and a 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. Okay, so let me pick up from that synth line now. 1 and 2 and then okay, so you'll notice on the tab you're going to see an X and then a 6. So basically what I'm doing is I'm prepping that first finger on the 6th, first string 6th fret, and then I'm hitting a dead note, right? Which means I'm ready to roll on that note, but I don't press down. And then immediately after you press down and nail the 6. So okay? Sorry. Super hip. Bass players do these all the time. Some people call them ghost notes, dead notes, whatever. You're basically prepping a note and you're not playing it. And you have to be careful because you don't want to get a harmonic. Right? You want to get just a solid dead note. And I can get it with just the first finger, but you may want to put these other fingers over the strings to get for like an insurance policy. So let's talk about the rhythm on that. So starting from the 5th line, we've got 1 and 2, 3, E and 4, and that's that first measure there of the 5th line. One more time. 1 and 2, 3, E and 4, and now if you're not hip on 16th notes, make sure that you're referencing my 16th note subdivision lesson, because if you ain't counting 16th notes, you're playing by ear and you're guessing, and your accuracy is going to be way lower than if you're actually able to count this stuff out. So let me play the first 2 measures of the 5th line. Ready, go. 1 and 2, 3, E and 4 and 1 E and a, and then you've got a dotted half rest. Okay, then we get down to some slapping and popping here on the last measure of the 5th line. So, and there's actually a bend in here, so let's take that last measure of the 5th line. So we've got pull off from 6 to 5, and I'm popping this. Okay, so hit the 6, pull off to the 5, and then the rest of the measure is slapping. So it's okay. So let me explain what's going on. Pull off 6 to 5, slap 6, slap 4, come back up to the 6, slap, grace note bend to 7, drop it back to 6, pull off to 4. Let me run that with time. We're at 90 on the metronome. Ready, go. And he actually cuts it short. I tie over to beat 4, but actually on the recording he just cuts it short. He rests on beat 4. But let me count through that for you. So it's 1 E and 2 and 3 E and. So that third beat is 3 E and. So remember, a grace note is instant without time. So you instantly bend that 6 to 7. It's super hip. Um, Bends are really kind of a good flavor to add in your playing, but there's definitely a a science to like what you want to bend. You don't want to just randomly bend stuff because you might be bending to a note that's out of key, and that's not cool. So then we continue with another verse 4 times, back to the. Okay, and then you're walking into another pre-chorus. So I think the tune is going to wrap on page 2. So there's really not a whole lot more writing to do, but my God, this tune is like so important for the left hand to get, these stretches, and I've written the suggestions that I would use for the left hand fingering, so they're all written on top of every note in the tablature. So hopefully that was a good walkthrough on page 1, and it will get you started on the tune and maybe thinking about 16th notes if you're not clear on the counting that I'm talking. That is standard universal musician language, so get hip to the jiggy. All right, I will catch up with you later.